Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Atomic Darts episode 20. It's not Atomic Darts. Atomic Darts is one of our sponsors. This is Coffee and Darts episode 28, sponsored by Atomic Darts and Shot Darts, as well as Magicware. And I've got my new Coffee and Darts Magicware jersey that I just got in the mail. Thank you, Jennifer Mounts over at Magicware. Very excited that I was able to procure this wonderful jersey. We are going to have some of these available on the website for some customization, and it's going to be a short run, so look for that coming up. We'll be mentioning it, and then that'll be on the Atomic Darts website. Again, don't forget to check out shotdarts.com for all of your shot darts needs, and Magicware for these wonderful, great jerseys. If you want a custom one just for yourself, they've got them. If you want some for the family, they've got them. If you need some for the team, they've got them. If you need some for just a league play, they've got them. If you just want one to hang on your wall, they've got that too. So check out Magicware, magicware.com. Today, I'm super excited. A gentleman that I've been able to communicate with a little bit since shutdown has come around. I've seen him start something and grow it, and I'm really excited to have Will Stuart on with us today. So I'm going to bring Will on. Hey, Will, how's it going?
Hey, Matthew, how are you?
Doing well.
Good.
So Will, where are you located?
I'm actually in Wichita, Kansas, so kind of the middle of the U.S.
Nice. That's kind of dab. That's kind of like dab right in the middle there, huh?
It is. Yeah.
So I got to ask the most important question. You're a Chiefs fan, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Die hard.
All right. So we can end this. We can end this conversation right there. That's all that matters, whether or not you're a Chiefs fan or not. So
there we go. We're bound for another one here if it happens. We'll see.
Yeah, I could talk Chiefs for the next 45 minutes all day long. So
I was about to say I may have to watch out with my work. Better watch out because I'm on break right now. Maybe back in a couple hours. I don't know.
So let's talk about quarantine darts and kind of the start of this. I mean, it makes sense. We're all under quarantine, and so we got quarantine darts. So what was the antithesis? What brought this about?
So actually, it kind of all started. It's kind of weird. It started as just a local thing. Me and a buddy I was like, hey, I think I can do this. Let's play each other and let's kind of get a local following. And we did that. We kind of did the local play, just me and him. It was started with just two boards and the Dart Connect in the middle. It was nothing special. Got about 800 views. And I was like, hey, that was kind of fun. Let's do another one. And I brought another guy here in town. He came over to the house and we did a 2-cam setup just like the PDC does, and got like 5,000 views on it. It was just a big hit, and I didn't understand why. So from there, I was just started building and started learning. I didn't know. I'm not a tech savvy person by any means. I watched a lot of YouTube, so credit to YouTube on that. You want to learn how to do it, go to YouTube and watch hours of YouTube, and you'll learn. I mean, you can learn anything on that. So I did that, started off just kind of as me, I was kind of a me page. I'll play somebody, bring them on and kind of sponsor, promote their sponsors that are promoting them, because that's important right now is, they need some support right now too. They don't have those guys going to tournaments. So it kind of started off as that. And all of a sudden I learned how to bring in two boards and it took off. It really just took off. I mean, tomorrow is 4 months in on this kind of project, and I think we're just over 3,000 followers now in under 4 months. So it's incredible the following that's kind of arose off of this. And I mean, I didn't anticipate me. I think it was just a local thing, and now it's a worldwide thing. So it's kind of unique. I think I know there's other people that are kind of bringing in that. There's other people that are trying to do the same thing, which is great. They're bringing in their own aspects, and that's great right now. All these players need an outlet to showcase their game, whether they're youth, female, male, old, young. It doesn't matter. You need to be put in a pressure spot, and that's what this live stream does.
So let me ask, where are you finding players? Apparently, it's not just local players. You and I were talking like Jeff Springer apparently has played. I've seen some names that are in the darts community come on and play on I've been watching. Because like PDC hasn't been there. Mm-hmm. So it was like what to watch. And my son like if it's on, he'll just sit there and watch, and he'll count out the numbers and he'll tell people what they need to throw at. It's pretty fun for me to watch him watching others play. But so where are you grabbing people? Are they coming to you? Are you reaching out?
It's a little bit of both, honestly. I mean, I do have people that reach out to me, and I do have like a list of players that I need to still get on or need to bring back on the page. That's also something that we're trying to do, is mix those players, bring them back on as well as new. But, I've reached out to a couple big name players just because, chances are they don't know me and I don't know them because I'm new to darts. I'm, couple years maybe competitive into this. So, a lot of those big name players don't know me. So you have to reach out and hope and dream, maybe they'll support it. Maybe they will. And, I think my first big time match was reaching out to Jim Long and Matt Campbell. Just said, I'm going to try it. Why not? Both of them just immediately got back to me and said, let's do it, man. Why not? And just that kind of support, just, telling them, hey, I'll do everything I can to support you and your promoters. I have no withholds on that. And they didn't even care. They were just like, you know what? That's great. But we also want to, kind of play. So, and have some fun. And why not have it streamed? And by no means have I ever been a outgoing guy. I mean, yes, I am, but I'm also a shy guy in the room that when I go to tournament, I'm not going to talk very much. So for me to get outgoing and kind of this has got me into a different person kind of per se. I've kind of became more outgoing and more, hey, I'll reach out and, being more active on social media and just on the local scene as well. So,
so it's
these players have just been great. They come to me and they support me and I support every single one that tries to come on. It's amazing.
So you've had some really good success on getting players that have some backing behind them. They've got some sponsorship behind them. So we'll say pro level players. Mm-hmm. Are you bringing on like non-pro level players, or is it pretty much like if I said, hey, I want to come play somebody, is that a possibility? Is that something you're looking for? And then I know that you've been doing ladies specific. So if you could talk a little bit about, how someone does it. Do they need to be someone sponsored, or can it be pretty much anybody? Do you have nights for that? And then talk about the ladies a little bit.
So quarantine darts has kind of been always, I started off and I mean, my first stream, I shot like a 58 average. I'm not a great player by any means, but that's how it all started. So it hasn't been a, hey, we're not going to broadcast just strictly competitive players, well, there is, you are competitive per se, but we're not going to go higher echelon tier players. We're not going to do that. I think there's something to gain from bringing, more less experienced players, or those lower averages that are trying to get better, or those youth players that are trying to, make their name and try to get better and, get their game to where a point where they can go out and, do something with it. There's 16, 17-year-old kids that we've had on this page that have reached out to me. Braden Hall is one of them from Canada. There's him and his buddy, Jason Fernan. They reached out to me when we were on the first kind of used to do it. We've had Harvey Stringer, who is from overseas. He's a 10-year-old and incredible. Trey House is 13. We've had some really good youngsters on the page that have just reached out to me and been willing to put themselves out there. I mean, they don't know how many people they're going to be broadcast to. It could be a couple hundred. It could be 2,000. But for them to do that is amazing. And on the women's side, we've also had, I started off with Catherine Duhu, who is actually a local person here in town. She plays with all of us males on a regular basis. She's a phenomenal shot. She takes us down all the time. And I figured, hey, it'd be cool to see her play, Brenda Rausch or Tanja Bincic playing Lisa Tyler. There's some big name ladies there that we should get on the stream and need to be broadcasted just as much as the males and just as much as the youth players, because, that's a big part of the dart scene as well. You got Fallon Sherrick making her big run at the World Championships. So, I hope to here in the near future, my goal is with the ladies players and with the youth is to intermingle them with, some of the males, some of the top tier males, ladies playing some youth players, ladies playing some upper echelon males. There's so much options that you can do with it. You don't have to strictly say, okay, you youth are going to play each other. You women are going to play each other. I don't like seeing that. I think, darts is darts, whether it's soft tip, steel tip, or, going out there and playing some lawn darts. I don't care. Darts is darts. I mean, to me, it's for you to want to put yourself out there to the world. You should have that chance, and it's awesome to see, me as a quarantine darts and Matt Stoner, who's my other admin, do it. And then, Jason Watt as the bearded dart guy. He kind of does the same thing. If you reach out to him or us, we'll get you on, that's what we do. So it's incredible.
Yeah. I've always said, darts is the one sport that's the equalizer. It doesn't matter, age necessarily. I mean, if you can throw the dart and you've got some ability to have consistency, like my 6-year-old's not going to play anybody and beat them other than me, which he has beat me 21 times because he'll tell you. But I mean, outside of that, I think it's the equalizer. I mean, women, I get beat by lady players in my league all the time. And there's nights where I get beat by someone that I have been able to beat consistently, and I have an off night, or maybe they've stepped up their game and they've been practicing. So it is the game that equalizes the playing field. It's everybody's at basically 8 feet, from a throwing perspective. The dartboard's at the same height. And that's the beauty of this sport, is it really can bring everything together. And I'm afraid to play some of these 13-year-olds and 12-year-olds because I know I'm going to get beat and I'm going to be like, oh man, I got beat. But their game is better than my game. So I need to step it up. So
there's a 13-year-old from over in England, Luke Littler, I've had on, got an 86 average in 21 legs. It's just incredible. I mean,
there's no way I can. It'd be over real quick with me. It'd be kind of like I should play him just for the joke of it. So, but hey, I want to share my screen here real quick with us and just talk a little bit about this. So this is Quarantine Darts. This is what the page looks like on Facebook. So currently there's not a web page, as I understand it. Is that correct?
Yeah, right now we don't have a web page. We're trying to venture out into the YouTube side. Like I said, this is kind of learn and go as I can. I'm also kind of with this has kind of arose other things as well. So other, future endeavors that could possibly happen. So I'm trying to work on those and maybe cure some options for the future. So a lot that we're working on. So, possibly in the near future, we'll get that web page up and going as well.
Nice. So I see here we've got, we've got different matches coming. This was this the 27th. So that was yesterday. And I noticed, and this was what I thought was interesting, is there was a little bit of a hiccup as far as one of the players not being able to attend, and you were able to find someone else. And that was a competitive match. That was a fun match to watch.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Matt had, another arrangement he had to take care of. We all have those in darts. We understand. So Kiefer actually reached out to Justin Fawcett, and Justin actually got off 18 hours of working as a nurse. So he's a, one of those essential workers that do a lot right now. And he said, yeah, I'll come on and play. And she'll still shot a 67 average. I mean, it was a good game. They just did a short best of 11 since we had, time constraints, but it was fun. It was a good match.
So we've got the stream now. Are there specific days that you guys are streaming, or is it just kind of whenever? Do you have a schedule?
We kind of, try to stick to a schedule so we don't overlap with other streams. We kind of work that out. But if there's a match, we work with each other on those and try to make it work. I know I've got a lot of international presence, especially in like Wales and the UK. I get a lot of match requests from that. And so we try to do those. I do get off at like 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I'm able to kind of make those 8 p.m. British Standard Time games work. So, and that also allows me to kind of intermingle some of those premier and maybe not so premier North America versus international matchups that are interesting to see. I mean, we had Jacob Taylor from Newfoundland, Canada versus John Williams-Jones from Wales. Those two guys, could play on the PDC tour right now. I mean, honestly, they're just unheard of names that nobody knows, but in this virtual world, they've made a presence, and their names are now big time names up there with Jim Long, Matt Campbell, and Danny Baggish up there, with those guys. So
Nice. So I see here giveaways. So you're doing some kind of giveaways.
yeah, we've had some fun with those. That's for sure.
Hey, look, there's us. So I said, okay, cool. But really, I think that's awesome in the aspect, and man, I'm dropping weird words here. Awesome. The aspect that you're able to do this kind of midday and bring in people from, across the pond to play those that are here. I look at that as expanding this sport, giving players here in America the opportunity to play those that are over in Europe, because there's just a difference in how the game is looked at. Mm-hmm. We look at it still as a bar sport. It's not even a sport. It's just a bar game. You go across the pond, you go over to Europe, you go into other countries. It's a huge thing. And I don't think we grasp that as much here in America as we really should. Over there, these guys are they're like NFL superstars. They literally they walk down this, people know where they live, the whole deal. So I love that aspect that you're able to bring that in. One other thing real quick. So you mentioned that you're kind of trying to do your streams and coincide it with others that are streaming. How's that working? So you're finding just good relationships with others that are trying to stream. There's not kind of that inner fighting that typically happens with things.
I mean, honestly, that's the thing about it, is it depends on who you try to work with. And I've actually found it that this has kind of been a community. We kind of learn off each other. We kind of, some of us are still learning. I know, the Bearded Dart guys won. I know James Green is a soft tip streamer who does kind of individual streaming. He helped me a lot when I kind of got started. It's been amazing kind of how you can go to each person and be like, hey, what's your input on this? Or, hey, what do you think about this? Because honestly, my input on it is that if we work together rather than trying to battle each other, we're actually going to lose because we're taking from each other. If we work together, we can say, hey, I'm going to stream 2 good matches on Monday. You can have Tuesday and get a great match, on Tuesday. And, everybody can come to me on Monday and I'll lead you in on Tuesday, and everybody can come to you. And it's just amazing because we're popping off 3,000 viewers on each stream. And, we're still separate streams, but we're working together just for the benefit of us both. I mean, or for everybody, essentially. So, I see it as a win-win, honestly. Yes, we like to try to one-up each other in little ways. I mean, there's a little slight competitive nature. I mean, always there's going to be that. And I'm sure
it starts. Yeah, there's competitive nature.
At least that's how I feel, I mean, I'm sure they feel the same way, but, it's win-win. Like I said, it's for the benefit of each other if we work together and try to make it coincide.
I will say, as someone who has stuff on in the background consistently, noise type stuff, I like the streams being on and I'll catch them. I do like the consistent, there's always darts on. There's your streaming or the Bearded guy streaming, or someone else is streaming, or the Icelandic darts is streaming, so there's always something, which I like how it seems like there's just this inner workings between the difference, instead of having an inner fight, kind of like the BDO and the PDC like to do this. Yeah. You guys seem to be working it out. And it's in this time and day and age, it's kind of enjoyable to see that there's good communications. I will say, when I started doing this type of thing and bringing people on, I thought I would hit a big wall in asking people to come on and talk. We had the darts referee on a week or so ago, and I didn't expect that to happen. I figured because we both do YouTube so much that he would be like, no, I don't want that. Mm. But it really opened my eyes as to how great the darting community is. We want to work together. We want to be a team and just enjoy darts. Mm-hmm. So I do want to ask about sponsors because I believe you've got a few sponsors. So I want to make sure that we get a shout out to those sponsors. But how did that come about?
So as far as sponsors, actually, kind of the ironic thing is, one of our sponsors, Horizon, has actually, benefited Wichita in the past. It's been more of a local kind of thing. Horizon's been around the dart scene for a while. I know they have, Black Widows and whatnot, laser darts. They've kind of helped us out in that aspect of, money for tournaments for the past numerous years to help out Wichita when they couldn't even provide a tournament. So I thought it was important, to give them a little support when they need it. So we, brought them on, no obligation at all, just because, we figured, we had to have some name on there as well. So we asked for permission and they provided us a discount code. So we went off of that, and it was awesome. It's been awesome working with them. And then we've also brought on White Horse Darts. White Horse Darts actually reached out to me from Kansas City, Kansas. They're a more local company, so about a couple hours away, and they really liked what we were doing, and they reached out to us, and we glad to bring them on board and have them on the stream as a sponsor. And then Dart Connect as well. Matt Stoner, our other admin on the page, he's actually a Dart Connect rep. So a lot of people may not know that, but he's actually one of those guys that goes to your tournaments and helps you with Dart Connect if you need it on your digital steel side. So he reached out to the Powers and said, hey, how do you feel about, putting a logo on here? And they were okay with it. And I figured, there's no better reason to support Dart Connect than what they're doing right now. Their service is amazing. And for just $24, I don't think there's a better scoring system out there right now. So,
and that's $24 a year.
Yeah. $24 a year. Yeah.
$24 a year. Yeah. We use it for our league and just to give Dart Connect, kind of a push here, guys, gals that are watching this, you can get it and you don't have to be in a league. You can get it and just play the Dart Connect computer, and it keeps track of all of your stats so that you can see your growth in that. But you can also connect with other people and play Dart. As long as they've got Dart Connect, you can set something up and play. So for $24 a year, it's a steal at that, just with all that you get with it. I use it for practice. Of course, we have it for league, but I'll just play the computer and, I'll, best of 5, best of 11, whatever. And it's fun because the computer sometimes will stick it to you, which is kind of fun. Yeah. But great program.
You're seeing it more and more, especially in the Midwest at tournaments. It's definitely a big tournament feature now. And it text messages you when you have your board calls and emails you. I mean, the system's incredible, and they're continuing to work on it. I mean, people forget that this system's actually been around for, I think, 5-6 years. I mean, it's been around for a little while, and they're also on the PDC side of things now too, doing the UK Open and Dart Connect TV with the Players Championships and stuff like that. So the big boys love it. I know MVG was sitting there playing with his phone, always getting those stats. You know how he is with the stats. He loves them. So
yeah, it's great. I mean, I love keeping track and seeing how bad I actually am doing. But all in all, if you're not using Dart Connect, I just want to recommend that you, for $24, I think it's definitely worthwhile to go ahead and get that subscription. And real quick, those that are watching on Facebook, if you would give us a like, a share, that would be awesome. I've never asked for that when doing this show, but I figure it's part of the deal. So give us a like, give us a heart if you're liking the show right now, everybody on Facebook.
Speaking on that, just real quick, it's amazing the support that you'll get just from a simple like, and how far, social media can go with just a simple like, share, or comment. So, it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't take but a minute to do. Not even that. I mean, a couple seconds at that. So, I mean, if you feel like doing it and you like the content, give us a share. Give Atomic Reviews a share. I mean, you've been around for some time, man, and I've always enjoyed your content since the very start. So,
Well, thank you.
Shout out
Thank
to you,
you.
by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, with that in mind, I've always had this mindset. I worked in marketing, like big time marketing. I worked on a number of movies back in the past. I worked for a company that we marketed The Passion of the Christ, The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. I worked with Disney. And so I worked on a number of things like that. And I just always gained this idea that I didn't want to be one of those guys that pushed for something from those that are watching.
Yeah.
I'd rather give, and not ask for stuff. Now, I know there are people that do that and they make a living off of it. I've never been one that's like, hey, go check out my Patreon page or go do this, or can you give us? I've just felt like I want to give, and like as things happen, people will want to be a part of it. How do you guys see in that 4-month growth? How's that working for you guys? Not that asking is wrong in any way, shape, or form. I think you need to ask to some degree, because if you don't, people just won't do it. Like on YouTube stuff that I do, I ask everybody to subscribe, because if you don't ask, no one will. They just don't think about it. How's that working for you guys? And what's the benefits you're seeing?
To me, I've always, marketing to me has always been kind of a big thing. I've always enjoyed kind of the marketing aspect, although I don't have a degree or anything. So, in the power of social media, I do kind of do the follow, like, share. That's something I've always had in my comment section or descriptions when I kind of set something off, just because it lets people know, that reassurance. Hey, if you like the content, I'm not forcing you to do it. It's there if you want to do it. It's your option, but it also tremendously helps the page. Just one like or just one share or just one follow, that can branch out to 100 people and you don't even realize it. 100 people see that, or 100 people like that content or see that, like that you've shown. And that's how in under 4 months we've gotten such a broad reach, is because I'll start off and I'll share. I'm not gonna lie, when we go live, I'll share to darts, tips, advice, and discussions, one of those Facebook groups, because I know it's got 20,000 people on it. You share that, and people, even 3 seconds, they're interested or not. Whether they're interested or not, based on your content or based on what you look like, they decide right there. But down the road in that minute, they may decide to, oh man, this is really cool. Let's share this to all my league buddies. And that right there is how you get, the branch of the tree that just grows, and we try to do, the little things like giveaways. I always try to be adamant about giveaways. I've probably done a little bit too much, honestly, but there's no such thing as too many giveaways. I mean, people like those giveaways. They're always, follow, like, share. I just saw that pop up. People like those giveaways just because it gives them something to, it always makes people happy. And I always have fun with those giveaways. Like, create a song or something, dance, have some fun with it. You always try to do that. So I don't try to force anybody to like, follow, share by any means. I do make it adamant that, hey, that option's there. I always say it, but I've always also made it known that I appreciate it too.
Yeah. I need to do that more, because I appreciate my followers and those that, like, I did that 18 hours of darts where I just played darts for 18 hours. And it was amazing to me that there were Michael Holdman, who I've got some questions from him that we're going to get to here in a second. He hung in there for the entire 18 hours, which was amazing to see that. And again, that's the darts community. They want to support, and I love that. But a couple things that I want to ask in regards to quarantine darts, because that's really what we're here to talk about. We've talked about getting started. We've talked about getting people on the page, or at least people coming and playing. But what were some of the struggles? Like, if someone wanted to do this, like, I've always thought about doing what you guys are doing. And if I wanted to kind of step into what you guys are doing at a different time slot, of course, what were some of the struggles getting started? What did you said you use YouTube a lot, but what for? I mean, I'm sure there's some people that are watching this or will watch on the back end that have those questions. So,
some of the struggles, I mean, you're you're always going to have struggles with streaming. I mean, whether it's internet issues, that's one big thing that you're going to struggle with is internet. You got to have a great fast internet. You can't have, the mediocre internet and expect to run excellent streams. You gotta suffer a little bit to get the good outcome. You also got to learn. So, in the very beginning, I was starting off with a crappy computer that only had 4 gigs of RAM, and you could tell the lags were issuing. So I went out and invested in a new computer. I've invested in some equipment along the way that I think, hey man, this will help just a little bit. Maybe I should do that. And you gotta, just like a mechanic does a car, you got to kind of fine tune those little points, and you got to learn. You got to have those mistakes to learn and get a good outcome. So, I'm honest. At the beginning, I didn't know how to bring in that second board. I only knew how to do my own and another player. So, once I finally discovered it, I was like, well, why didn't you think of that the whole time? It's just because you got to learn. You got to trial and error it. And, I always tell people, there's people that ask me all the time, hey, how do I get started? Or, hey, how I do this? The first thing that I say, and I don't mean to be, excuse me, but, a person that's, trying to be
laid out there. Just laid out there.
Just a dick. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean to do that, but, if you're not willing to go onto YouTube and at least spend some time learning on YouTube, you're not going to be worth it, because you're going to have to learn on your own. If I try to tell you how to do it, you're not going to learn it. You got to learn it yourself, per se. I can help you with little stuff, no problem. But you want me to teach you, you're first saying, hey, how do I do that? Well, buddy, go learn for about an hour or two, because it's going to take a little investment on your part to learn it, And I hate saying it, but it's the truth. It took 8 hours of YouTube before I could even figure out how to pull something onto my screen,
Yeah, I get the same thing. Like, oh, I want to do this, right? And it's like, well, it's not all that it's cracked up to be.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of work. I know personally that you're putting an incredible amount of effort into putting these streams together, finding people. I know that it's not like, oh, let's stream right now. There's an incredible amount of work that goes into it. So as far as hiccups that you came across, so there was the learning bit, there was the equipment bit, which is a consistent. You're going to spend money on this if you love it to get better. You're going to up your game, and you have to be strategic about that. Mm-hmm. I have been known to just go buy the best item available out there and then understand I don't know how to use it, and I wasted my money. Mm-hmm. But so in regards, like I see the 2 boards behind you. Mm-hmm. Do you have multiple players like locally come over and play, or is that just?
So I'm lucky enough, the wife actually let me kind of do the man cave in the basement. So I decided I wanted to have a couple boards up. I have the option to switch them into the grand board as well. So I have that. So I wanted to do that and have, usually I have my grand board up, but I rarely ever play soft tip. I'm a steel kind of guy. I just love steel tip. I started on that. So, I intertwine the two. Sometimes, every once in a while I'll do a grand board stream, very rarely, but I'm lucky enough that the wife let me kind of do my own thing down here, and I kind of ventured out a little bit too much. That's for sure. That's actually Hannah right there. This QD sticker's a little gnarly. Oh man, she hates them. She really hates them because I spent money on them.
But that's part of the bringing the show to the people is having that. And like my background, everybody always comments like, oh my gosh, that's so nice. I'm like, yeah, my wife allowed me to do this. Yeah. We literally had a conversation about my Funko Pops and my obsession with Funko Pops, and we set ground rules with that. And of course, I've got my 2 boards up, and I've tried to put other boards up around the house. My son has a board in his room. My daughter now wants a board. She's really getting into it, so that'll be next. We'll get one in our room at some point. Yeah, I'll just put it up. But that's awesome. That's great that your wife's on board with you doing what you're doing. And that's a big key thing. Those that are looking to get into whether it's doing the YouTube stuff, the product reviews, or just YouTube in general, or you're trying to do the streams, make sure that you've got an okay from everybody in your household. And because the worst thing to do is to have a passion to do something like this and then hit walls at home consistently. Yeah. So that's great that you guys are working together in a sense on doing this, or at least you're allowed to do it, just like myself.
Well, I was going to say that's probably, the main struggle is trying to find time for everything. You've got to have time for family. You've got to have time for yourself. You got to have time for everybody else. There's a little bit too much time that I'm probably spending on everybody else rather than us. But, she's kind of knows that this could end up being a big thing. I mean, God knows, I didn't know this was going to pop off the way it has. I thought it was just going to be kind of a 50 to 60 follower thing, worth some fun, and it's almost developed into a second business already. So,
yeah, well, it's a needed outlet. So it's Quarantine Darts. I mean, we were, and a lot of people are still stuck at home to some degree. I know where we are in California, because I'm in Southern California, we kind of still do our daily routines, other than I work from home now. But I still go to the store, kind of like regular. I still go to Home Depot. We still take the family out to do some things. So for us, it's not as bad, but I know in other areas. So what you're offering is an incredible outlet for people. But I have a question. So say in 6 months, all of this fades. The sunlight comes out and all of a sudden we don't have the issues. Are you going to change the name, or are you going to keep with Quarantine Darts?
So that's been a big question that a couple people have asked me. And, I've thought about this a lot, and I think there's significant options available. I mean, there's Quarantine Darts can continue. There's no such thing as it stopping, but I think there also is other avenues that we can venture into that can be very good per se, and not dealing with darts. I mean, honestly, there's another outlet out there that I think is very interesting. I don't want to get into too much details just because I like to hold stuff in until the last moment until I release it. But I think here in the near future, you can definitely see, Quarantine Darts and the logo being readily active and around the North American scene. I think it's not going to stop. I think there's definitely interest from people to make this continue. So, I think it's here to stay per se, as in Quarantine Darts, or at least that kind of look per se. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see what the future has to hold. I think it's definitely been a great name for right now. We'll see if it holds up.
I think you should run with it and just kind of run it out. I don't see any necessarily a need for a change, unless someone were to drop you a bunch of monies and say, hey, we're going to buy this thing, then by all means, run with whatever they want. But I think I like the fact that I just the whole concept behind it. I love what you're doing. I have a couple questions. These come from Michael. He emailed me. So it's more around a league setting, like setting up a league. And I know you guys aren't doing league, so we should have talked about that maybe at the beginning, but you're not doing a league, so to speak. You don't have players that are kind of like in a league. And I see Bob Hamilton jumped on here, and he actually runs our league. So okay. Bob, you might be able to answer some of these questions in the comments. But so Michael is looking to apparently start a league. He's in New York, and his big thing is like, how do you spark interest? So what was one of the things to help spark interest in Quarantine Darts?
Oh, okay. So that was, that's a good question. I've actually, dealt with this on a more local level, because I had some affiliations with the Wichita Dart Association, and then the WADS, which is now our kind of league that we're involved in. But yeah, I mean, spark interest. I mean, hit up those local bars is the main thing. You gotta have a main kind of sponsor and a backing. So, hit up those local bars that you're gonna be playing at, and do some old school flyering, get some interest, spark some interest that way. And once your players are interested, that's where it's key, because that's where it can start exploding. Because if they're interested and they're talking about it, that's when their friends are talking about it. And then everybody's coming to play with you and hang out at your bar. So, I mean, as far as remotely, if you're doing that right now, social media is the main thing. Same thing. Social media side, except hitting up those players on the social media side and having them branch out. We actually have a virtual league through the WADs right now where we have people from 4 different states, Oklahoma, Kansas, Wyoming, and Missouri, I believe. So, yeah, I mean, there's options out there as long as you market it right.
So real quick, it's misery. So
Misery.
it's misery. My mom actually lives in Farmington, Missouri, and I let her know whenever I call her, hey, it's 74 here, Mom. What's the temperature there? So excuse me. So once you begin, how do you make it grow? I think we answered that question. It's really social media and word of mouth.
Yeah.
It's getting that word out there that, hey, there is a league that you can play at, whether it's in a bar or whether it's doing virtual.
Yeah.
It's all about getting people interested, and you do that by telling people. It's the old adage: if I had a pot of gold to give away, but I don't tell anybody, I'm never going to give it away. So you got to tell people. He had a question about how does a league deal with grievances. So that's a good question with a live stream situation that you guys are dealing with. Have you had any grievances, like people throwing darts underhand, or people having issues, or like the idea of, hey, maybe there's some cheating going on? Have you had that, and what would you do in regards to that?
We haven't experienced that on the virtual side yet, and if there is any options, I mean, then we're going to have to kind of go about that along the way. Maybe call for a replay, or maybe bring in that third party option, where you force somebody to bring in that third viewer. That's always an option on the virtual side to do. Essentially what I do, a 3-way call on my streams, bringing a third viewer so they're watching it and can justify for themselves whether someone's cheating or not. As far as in a more face-to-face level when we're actually playing, every association has dealt with this. I mean, it's a big deal. I know there's a lot of mistakes and miscommunication that happens on boards across North America. I mean, it's kind of a big deal. You just got to kind of stress communication, form a group chat, always be talking, always making sure stuff's going right, because when you're not talking, that's when stuff's slipping through the cracks, and that's when those bad things happen, and if you're having a thing like underhand throwing or someone taking out their anger on another player, then you have to deal with that, and you have to talk about that together and be combined and make a decision together, whether it's, hey, we need to suspend this person for 6 months or a year, and make it known like, hey, that's not allowed, and then try to work it out the next time, or, hey, give them a warning, whatever it may be. You guys decide that and go with it. Stand your ground and go with it.
Yeah, I will say that, mistakes happen when playing darts. Even in the pro level, excuse me, counting mistakes happen, other mistakes occur. So you just need to deal with them. But like I've always told my kids, never let the referee decide the outcome. So make sure that you're doing well enough so that even if a mistake is made, that mistake isn't what makes the outcome. It's not what creates the loss. But mistakes are going to happen. Someone's going to step over a line. Just remind them. It doesn't need to be a big deal. I will say I was just playing a match this past weekend. I was trying to figure out, I think I had 131 left or something. I don't remember what it was. And I was in my head, I was thinking, okay, I need to hit this, this, and this to get out. And I was contemplating the different, if I miss, what do I hit? Well, he threw and he went out and I didn't watch it. And he's like, okay, third dart. And I was like, what? Wait a second.
Yep.
So, and I was like, wait, you've already pulled your darts. I didn't see it. But that was my mistake, not his mistake, for not watching, what was happening during the match. So I think you need to roll with those things, and you need to understand that mistakes happen. If someone's implicitly cheating on the regular, there's a consistent issue. I think you need to deal with it. And I agree completely with you. Depending on what the issue is, depends on what the severity of the punishment should be.
Yeah, I completely agree as well. I mean, you got to understand, everybody, half of this virtual world is new to a lot of people. So, you got to let a certain amount of extent kind of be worked out between everybody and figured out together. You can't be harsh punishment for, hey, I really didn't know. There's a lot of stuff that we're still learning, and we're learning it together. So,
yeah, mistakes are going to happen.
Yeah.
None of us are playing for a big trophy, well, or pizza and trophy. If anybody saw that, a huge shout out to Dancing Dimitri. We got to do that at least on the show for winning this past weekend. If you guys didn't see that, go to the PDC site. It's up, I believe. But shout out to Dancing Dimitri and his pizza for his wins. So I was looking through these questions again. Just seeing if there's anything other. So he asks, what are the benefits or the difficulties of running a league for individuals versus teams? And I think it's pretty much the same situation like what we see here. You can do streams for teams, or you can do live for team play versus individuals. I think it's all pretty much the same. I don't think there's a big difference between the two. Your thoughts?
I think honestly, you got to establish at the very beginning what you're trying to do with the league, whether it's going to be for fun, whether it's going to be competitive. I think you need to establish that, because here in Wichita, there's actually 3 leagues, which kind of doesn't make any sense to me. But there's 3 leagues. One's kind of fun, one's kind of a little bit more competitive, and one's really competitive. So you got to kind of figure out what you want to do with that league. I suggest, if you're doing team play, there's avenues to do that and make it competitive and make it fun. But I also think you need to have some individual side in there as well if you're going to try to do the team aspect, if you're trying to make it competitive. But that's just my aspect on it. I mean, that's just the player side of me. I don't want to go spend 2 or 3 hours at a bar to get a couple legs of darts. I'd rather, have something invested in myself.
Yeah, you've got to be able to play. You can't just go there and sit there for 3 hours and say, "Oh, I played one match." There's got to be a little bit more to that. So here was a suggestion from Darren Stringer. He says after quarantine darts is a good name. So once the quarantine's over, you just add the after, and you just keep going with the same logo.
Yeah, Darren is actually Harvey Stringer's dad.
Okay.
Harvey, 10-year-old Harvey hit a big 160. He actually is a big sponsor for autism awareness. So shout out to him. Thank you.
Nice. Yeah, I've seen some. I think you had a couple clips of that 160 floating
Big
around.
stuff. Yeah, big stuff. Yeah,
which I've never hit. So again, I don't.
Harvey's also got an ultimate darts card available for purchase.
I saw that online. I think you had posted that, right?
Yep. 100% of proceeds go to autism awareness. So he's been a big advocate. If you didn't know, Harvey actually has autism himself. So it's really incredible what he's done to be 10 years old and have a presence like he has and be a really good dart player. So yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, here I've got it up here on the screen. I'm gonna share it real quick, and then we're gonna end this because we're a little past. But let me just share this real quick, so you guys can see this. This is Harvey, and he's got his own,
which they had to change. By the way, they had to change that to a big 160 because of his out.
So you could get the limited edition 156.
There we go.
And then get that, and maybe you can get Harvey to sign that. But that's awesome. I think that's totally cool that he's got one of those. I'm gonna have to see if I can pick one up. I personally have had trouble getting them to ship them to me. I've ordered a couple, and then they haven't arrived. So I'm gonna have to see if I can get one of those. So all right. So Will, it's been a real pleasure to have you on the show. Again, you guys check out Quarantine Darts. Just go to Facebook and go to Quarantine Darts, and you're gonna find a plethora of information and be able to see when, like that word, plethora. you're gonna be able to see when the streams are happening. If you haven't watched any streams, check them out. And if you've got an interest in doing a stream, I'm sure if you DM Will, he'll be able to at least get you in the right direction as to maybe where to go on YouTube to start learning about doing a stream. But it would be nice to see additional streams come out. And I say that, and I don't do one. So Will, you're welcome to hit me over the head and make me get into it as well. But I want to thank again Shot Darts for being a sponsor of the show. I want to thank Magic Wear Jerseys for being a sponsor of the show. Will, we want to also thank White Horse. If you guys check out White Horse, I think it's whitehorse.com, and they're doing clothing for darts players. Darts Connect, again, if you're not paying the $24 a year for that, you really need to look into that. And then who was your other sponsor? Oh, it was Horizon Darts.
Yeah.
So check out Horizon Darts as well. So thank you to those sponsors that are helping out Quarantine Darts. Thank you to our sponsors. Make sure you check all of them out and show them a little bit of love. Hey, Will, if you'll stay on for a second, after I end this stream, I just want to cover a couple things with you. Yeah. I would appreciate it. And hey, everybody, thanks again for catching episode 28 of Coffee and Darts. Thanks, Will, again for being on. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again soon. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, guys.